Miss Stacy passed out a piece of paper to all of you. It says, how do we learn how to act as men and women? And that's what our project is going to be all about. And we're going to work on answering this question in all of the different subject areas.
These 7th and 8th graders at Greater Brunswick Charter School in New Brunswick, New Jersey, are embarking on a 6-week interdisciplinary project exploring gender roles.
This is all the 7th, 8th grade curriculum stuff that you would be doing anyway. Some of the sequence of it has been altered so that the pieces all fit together a little more nicely. So there's no additional work.
Created by area parents and educators in 1998, this school serves close to 200 children who come from a dozen school districts in Middlesex and Somerset counties.
This school looks like Middlesex County. Everybody is here. All the different ethnic groups, all the different economic groups. We have kids who have all kinds of different needs.
And these are a rough set of notes I just Xeroxed.
To address those needs, the school has embraced project-based learning. Before the semester began, teachers and administrators met to design the gender project. They considered how it would meet state curriculum standards.
So basically the biology part of science.
How it would be assessed.
Right. Normally we think of capturing the change in their level of knowledge, but what we're talking about here is capturing some kind of change in the nature of their awareness.
They also brainstormed ideas for classroom activities that would focus on the project theme or driving question.
The driving question I think we lighted upon was, how do we learn how to act as men and women?
A good driving question sets up a process of inquiry that the students are interested in and that guides them towards how they're going to do the work and what the kind of work they're going to have to produce in order to answer the question.
Maybe get like a really big poster and paste it to the wall. And every time we come up against a gendered word, we add it to the gender vocabulary.
The bank,
right. A gender wall, a gender word wall.
We may be faced with the question of whether it's going to be censored or not.
Okay, you have a handout right now, and you're going to come up with lists of words. There are alternative words for women and girls, and then in the other column, what other terms are used for men and boys. Censor yourself if you have to. There are some words that we might not want unless you put little stars by them.
Start? All right. SL star star, H star, B, I, star star star.
They knew that they could basically say what they needed to say or write down what they needed to say because we were just getting info from them. So they were like, okay, I'm going to come up with this word and this word and that word. And so to hear them say it that first time or to write them down, I was shocked.
B, star, 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 star.
What were some of the positive terms that came up? I didn't hear a whole lot of them. What were positive terms?
Male, muscular, dude, sir, gentleman, mister, daddy, trooper, guy, and son.
These two right here, we have a male and a female, and they're going to mate, and you're going to make the babies.
The gender project was carried across the curriculum. In science class, students learned basic genetics.
You have all of the chromosomes for Merkling 1 and for Merkling 2.
And theories of animal behavior.
You're going to act like your Merkling is male, and you've got to decide how it would act because it's male.
In social studies, students examined the historical context of gender inequities.
Only white men were able to vote. Women wasn't able to do anything. Blacks were slaves, and people from other countries weren't treated well.
I want you to think about what you're like on camera.
And once a week, students engaged in media studies, learning to deconstruct everyday images dealing with gender.
This idea of a longer sustained project that kids get invested in for a period of time, a project that has a lot of different elements to it, jibes really well with a lot of the goals of media literacy, because we want for students to realize that there are all kinds of different aspects to what they're learning about and what they're addressing when they make media or they think about media.
So what are we looking at? What's the difference between the male and female images here? We've been looking at movies for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess you can say lighter colors are more feminine, the way they're advertising it there, and darker colors are for men.
But why? When you talk about teaching media, you're talking about teaching subject matter but also skills. So I find myself teaching them to analyze advertising. At the same time right now, they're working on creating a PSA about gender. And so they have to use some of those deconstruction skills now to create something.
Hey, show them.
I've always known that they have stereotypes that they always show women with, but now I also learned about how they portray males as well. That males always have to be tough and women they're always soft or whatever. And that's not how it is in real life.
You know how like women be laying on cars and stuff, and they kind of say that's sexy. So we kind of laid on the cars, and we got some pictures of that.
At the end of the project, students presented the results of their study to their parents and the 5th and 6th grade classes.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all persons will be rightfully and lawfully considered to be created equal.
The presentation included a document written by the class that extended the freedoms in the Declaration of Independence to students.
With no judgment made upon gender, race, and explicitly age.
We had feminine words and masculine words.
They also presented a modified version of their original word wall.
We had princess, because most girls like being called princess.
And they animated the process of cell division in PowerPoint.
The X's start to separate to create a new nucleus. Once it's done, you'll have another pair.
The presentation gave teachers and staff an opportunity to assess what students had learned.
Part of the work that was missing today was kind of the meta level of the work. That level where the kids kind of stand back from what they're about to describe and they give you the context and they give you the framework. If I were grading this on a rubric, this would be at the level of, well, they seem to have mastered the content to the extent that they can reproduce it or they can describe it, but not well enough that they can teach it. And that's what we're aiming for.
Mitosis, yeah. We're going to tell y'all what that is.
Nonetheless, I thought they did a terrific job today in showing that they had thought long and hard about these things.
One of the best findings in educational research is reflection is equated with retention. That is, when you think about what you've done and you think about what you learned, it's much more likely to stay with you.
I know I used to call everybody whatever I wanted to, and now I don't do that. Like, no one deserved to be called a B or a whore or anything like that.
How many people think that it's mostly culture about gender roles? In other words, you're not necessarily born with it, but you're taught it.
In the beginning of this project, I thought like that girls couldn't do certain things that boys could do. As we got deeper into the projects, the girls, they started like joining in with us and playing that, and the boys started like joining in their games, like jump rope, and that was like we started to get along.
I wonder how much we're going to ever really be able to assess what happened here in the last 6 weeks. It may be something that gets really buried deep. Maybe someday they'll be in college and they'll be in a particular position and it'll be connected with male or female behavior or gender or perceptions of gender. And they'll suddenly catch themselves and say, oh wait, I remember this.
See how they laugh at us, but if it was a female, y'all wasn't going to be laughing.
Yeah.